This week in the Regency, it's Fashions for July. I have to apologise that this is coming to you a little late. I was a trifle indisposed over the weekend, so my apologies. We're going today straight to La Belle Assemblée. And the reason we're doing that is because I looked at 3 different newspapers and they were all really hard to read. So that was the Bath Intelligencer, it was Stamford News. For some reason, each of them had put the fashions on the curve of right at the edge of the page, and I thought that it would be harder for you to look at. And so we've gone straight to the source this week. And as often is the case with La Belle Assemblée, we have both English and French fashion this week. I'm going to start with the English, even though that was the second, because it was the first plate. So there doesn't seem to be much connection between which is 1 and 2 on the columns and which is 1 and 2 in the plates. But nonetheless, we are looking at a summer walking dress. A round dress of fine India muslin over blush-coloured satin, finished by a broad puckered ornament at the border to correspond. I love the way they're calling it an ornament. They clearly have no idea how else to describe it. And I don't know how you would, in fact. Canezou spencer of blush satin and fine lace. Now, a Canezou spencer later in the century, like about 1835-ish, is more like a little cape. So it's interesting that they call this a canezou. And I think what they mean by that is that it's very light. So canezou is a mispronunciation of 15 août, which is the 15th of August in French. And according to Victor Hugo, that means it's a nice day and light and hot and sunny, right? So it's a spencer that's designed to be worn when it's hot. So I suspect it's only one, it's not lined. It would be my guess is what makes it a canezou. So canezou spencer of blush satin and fine lace. I love the way that blush satin, I think the artist got a little enthusiastic with the pink there. And in order to make it work, he made her face very pink as well, because that's supposed to be the color. The color is supposed to be, you know, if a lady is blushing. Bonnet of the same, that is, of blush satin and fine lace, with a full bouquet of roses, myrtle blossoms, or other small flowers. So we're talking, you know, tiny roses here. We're not talking tea roses. Triple antique ruff of fine lace, lemon-coloured kid slippers and gloves, and parasol of sea green, which seems to be an odd combination to have pink and lemon and sea green, but there you have it. The second dress is a Parisian walking dress. Cambric muslin gown, ornamented around the border with fine lace, surmounted by 5 broad tucks and a richly embroidered flounce edged with lace. So this is a very, very expensive dress. Corsage à la Sévigné. So a corsage à la Sévigné is where you can see here that there are tucks, vertical tucks, so that the bodice is gathered in the center there. So presumably this would be a good design for ladies who have larger busts than our model does. Long puckered sleeve, triple Spanish ruff of lace. Okay, Spanish ruff is one that goes straight out, and it comes from those paintings of Spanish noble people, noble men mainly, but where the ruff is very stiff. with pointed edges. Yellow gauze bonnet ornamented with a full bouquet of lilacs. Dove-coloured parasol fringed with white. Dark green kid slippers and gloves. Not limerick green, as we had over the past couple of months, but dark green. So we're having a slight change of colour in the greens. Who created this magnificent ensemble of the English dress and told them about the French one? Why, these inventions, inspired by elegance and taste, we owe to the fertile genius of Mrs. Bell. So product placement is well ahead there. To her also we are indebted for the following tasteful headdresses. Now, unfortunately, my copy of La Belle Assemblée did not have any illustrations of these. I've seen some, but I haven't been able to track them down. However, we can read the description. The hat cap, and as we were talking about in an earlier fashion video, that's something that comes right down, of pearl-coloured silk and gas lace. Now, I'm assuming here that gas lace is very light. Surmounted by a full plume of real marabou white feathers. Okay, what's marabou white feathers? Well, this is a marabou. And if we look a little closer at what a marabou looks like, we can see that the shoulder down is very white and fluffy. It's what used to be used for feather boas also. They're very, very light feathers and incredibly white. Unfortunately, as with so many of these things that put the marabou into endangered area, almost extinct, but it's coming back now. People have got fake feathers. So going back to our description, the next one is the Cheltenham half-dress cornet of fine blonde. We've talked about what a cornet is in an earlier video. The pattern oak leaves over peach-coloured satin with a puffing of peach satin ribbon on the summit. A fine blonde quilling, blonde here is the colour rather than the lace, is next to the face, and some of these cornets are made of fine net instead of figured blonde. And I thought, since we were going straight to the source this week, we would have a look at what Ackerman said about hats in the same month. So this is from Ackerman's Repository of the Arts. In the earlier part of the season, there was much variety in headdresses for outdoor costume. Hats, and of course that's in a walking dress is an outdoor costume. Hats and bonnets were both in favour, and different shapes were worn. We see now very few of the former, that is, very few hats, and the latter, the bonnets, are universally large. We mean the brims only, the crowns being of a moderate size, or rather, in general, low. And that's a change in fashion. Bonnet pokes, as they're also called, used to be quite high. Blonde is the most fashionable trimming for the edge of bonnets, and they are always adorned with a bouquet of flowers. And we have seen in the earlier descriptions that they talk about flowers. And I'm looking here at the bonnet on our French walking dress. Those lilacs look real to me, and I suspect they are real. I suspect that all of the flowers that are described here were real. There were silk flowers which were used, but these flowers, because it's summer, I think part of the thing of summer dressing is that you have real flowers on your head. Some of which I have to say must have been quite heavy. It's the time for flowers. So what else can we say about the two rival fashion magazines this month? Well, according to La Belle Assemblée, the favourite colours in July are sapphire blue, which is quite strong, emerald green, again quite strong, peach blossom, and rose colour. And presumably they got that from the modiste as well. But in Ackermans, we see fashionable colours for the month are pale blue, light green, lilac, rose colour, light slate colour, which is a grey, and peach blossom. So they agree on rose and peach, but not on anything else. They've got Belle Assemblée has dark blue and dark green, and Ackermans has light blue and light green. So pretty much any colour of blue or green, it seems to be, you could justify for July 1819. That's this week in the Regency. If you have things that you're particularly interested in regarding Regency fashion, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. I'm Elizabeth Layton. I'll see you next week in the Regency.